Seniors, if your legs hurt after walking, you must eat these 3 foods now. Your morning walk once felt like an easy stroll across a meadow. Now every few steps the calves tighten, the knees grumble, the ankles send up sparks. It is as if the path has grown steeper overnight, though nothing around you has changed except the pages no one can see. Yet pain is only a letter from the body, never an enemy. It says that it is thirsty, it is rusted, it needs your ear. Picture your legs as 2 time-worn bridges. Their wooden planks creak because the river of nourishment that once rushed beneath is slowed to a whisper. Moss gathers on joints, silk clogs tiny vessels, the ropes of muscle fray where no fresh fibers arrive. Close your eyes and remember a favorite pair of boots. Seasons of travel softened their leather until it wrapped your feet like a second skin, but the soles wore thin. One day rain seeped through and you felt the chill with every stride. Legs age in the same quiet way. The cushion of cartilage thins, the shock absorbers lose bounce, the gears of circulation slow. Each ache whispers the same request: feed me, oil me, give me air. This discomfort can feel unfair, as though the body has broken its promise. In truth, it is asking you to sign a new agreement. The contract of youth demanded little maintenance. The contract of wisdom, sealed under silver hair and gentler eyes, calls for mindful fuel and softer rhythms. When we grant that request, the body replies with gratitude woven into muscle fibers and carried along veins like secret notes. Think of your bloodstream as a fleet of small delivery boats. When the harbor is clear, they glide along, bringing oxygen, minerals, and calm to every wharf. When debris clutters the channels, the boats bump and scrape, delivering less with each journey. Pain appears not as punishment, but as a harbor master waving a crimson flag. Clear the rubbish, widen the passage, and the voyage resumes. In this first gathering, we will not chase miracle cures, we will simply listen. We will walk across those creaking bridges, inspect each plank with care, and promise to send the right supplies downriver. Because relief begins long before medicine bottles rattle or bright surgery lights shine. It begins with the humble choice to nourish. With gentler ground, softer hills, and a breeze that carries confidence instead of doubt ahead, pause for a heartbeat before rising tomorrow. Wiggle the toes, roll the ankles, greet the knees. Tell them help is on the way. They have carried you through decades of journeys, of dances, of hurried steps toward loved ones. Now it is your turn to carry them, not on your shoulders but on a wave of deliberate care. The distance between strain and comfort is crossed not in giant leaps but in daily mouthfuls of the right fuel. Our next step is to discover that fuel together. Pull up a chair and notice how everything begins before the foot meets the path. The story of easy movement is whispered at the table long before the door swings open. Think of the plate as fertile soil and your legs as tall trees. A tree never begs the sky for comfort, it asks the earth for water. In the same quiet way, calves, knees, and hips draw their true strength from each mouthful you choose. When meals grow hurried and colorless, roots dry, bark cracks, leaves droop. Yet the moment vibrant fuel returns, even an old trunk sends out new green tips. Your body carries 3 traveling companions on every walk. Bone keeps the frame upright, vessel guides fresh blood like sap, muscle powers each stride like hidden wind. They speak different dialects yet depend on the same pantry. Pour kindness across that pantry and they answer with harmony that feels like music beneath the skin. Ignore it and they grumble in separate corners, tugging your attention toward pain. No miracle shoe fixes that discord because it was born far from the laces. Peace must be stirred into soup, sprinkled across salad, folded into a humble sandwich. Picture a bowl of summer tomatoes shining like small suns. Their pigments slip into the bloodstream and calm silent fires that chew at sore joints. Imagine a handful of glossy nuts. Each crunchy bite releases good fat that pads nerves the way moss cushions stone. Envision leafy greens darker than the forest floor, carrying minerals that slide into bone, patching thin spots the way a gardener lines a cracked pot with fresh clay. These are not exotic talismans fetched from distant coasts. They are familiar friends patiently waiting on market shelves, ready to sign a truce between hunger and healing. The tongue often chooses habit over hope. It reaches for salt, for sugar, for hurried comfort that leaves coins of fatigue in your pockets. Shift the habit gently, not with scolding but with curiosity. Swap a doughy roll for a slice of rye brushed with ripe avocado, and feel joints sigh like hinges given a drop of oil. Trade a sugary drink for cool water flavored with citrus peel, and feel blood glide a shade smoother, as if the river shed a layer of mud. Let one meal carry fruit so fresh its scent paints the room, another meal carry beans slow cooked until tender enough to spread like butter. Each small swap is a silent carpenter tightening loose boards in the bridge of your legs. You may wonder how such modest bites could quiet aches that have shouted for years. Picture a wick inside a lamp coated in soot. Strike a match and the flame sputters, starved of air. Wipe the glass clear and the same tiny flame lights a whole room. Food scrubs that glass. It does not erase age, but it removes grime that dulled the glow. Within days color returns to cheeks, within weeks night cramps ease like knots untied, within months steps land with a softness that surprises you on the stairs. The timeline belongs to patience, not haste. Patience is the secret spice stirred into every recipe that heals. Set the table with intention this evening. Lay a cloth even if you dine alone. Place the fork neatly even if no guest can praise you. Such rituals tell the nervous system that safety has arrived, that stress may unclench its fists. When stress loosens, vessels widen and nutrients travel freely, carrying comfort to toes that once pulsed with complaint. You are not eating only to fill a void, you are sending messengers of renewal to distant outposts of tissue. Tomorrow when you tie your walking shoes, remember the orchard inside you. Every bite you tended today is already weaving stronger bark, thicker sap, more resilient leaves. Feel gratitude rise from belly to heart the way warm bread releases steam into a cool kitchen. Then step outside. The sky is the same, yet the roots beneath you are richer, and the ground answers with a gentler echo. Bring a dark glass bottle into the light and watch the amber thread of extra virgin olive oil glide into a spoon. It moves like sunset slipping across calm water, silent yet certain. This smooth ribbon carries gentle healers called polyphenols, though your knees will simply know them as a relief team. Imagine a rusty gate at the edge of an old orchard. It squeals whenever you try to open it, protesting every motion. Now picture warm oil slowly seeping into the hinge, loosening flakes of red rust, turning sharp grinds into soft whispers. That is what this liquid does inside a joint where cartilage thins and hidden fires burn. Many years ago a friend kept a squeaky bicycle on her porch. Each morning she rode through town, the chain screeching like gulls over the harbor. One afternoon she wiped the chain clean and drizzled it with olive oil because nothing else was at hand. The next dawn the bicycle rolled forward in near silence, as if grateful. Your cartilage is no different. Bathe it from within and it begins to greet movement with a quieter voice. You will not notice a trumpet fanfare. You might only feel a subtle ease when you rise from a chair, a softer landing when your heel meets pavement. This oil works beyond the hinges. It also lines the narrow roads where blood travels. Think of a tiny stream weaving through smooth pebbles. When the pebbles gather grime, water must squeeze around jagged edges, churning rather than gliding. Olive oil polishes those stones so the current can run clear again. With each polished stone pressure falls, warmth spreads, toes regain a healthy blush. That warmth is not heat from the sun, it is life reaching its destination on schedule. Some worry about spoons and scales and invisible lines that mark enough or too much. Set those fears aside. Let flavor guide you. Pour a swirl over ripe tomatoes, brush it onto warm toast, fold it into creamy hummus, whisk it with lemon so crisp you smell spring even in deep winter. The body understands variety far better than strict counts. When oil meets herbs, meets vegetables, meets whole grains, they knit together like threads in a sturdy tapestry. The finished cloth holds muscles, nerves, and vessels in gentle harmony. Taste carries memory. Each drop of good oil contains the laughter of growers who pruned silver leaves under a broad Mediterranean sky. They trimmed branches, collected fruit by hand, and pressed green pearls before bitterness could creep in. Their care seeps into every sip you take. It is as if you invite a fresh breeze to your kitchen, a reminder that healing can begin with tenderness offered by unknown hands far away. Some evenings you may feel tired, reach for packaged food, tell yourself that one shortcut will not matter. And perhaps it will not. Yet imagine that same gate left without oil through another stormy season. Rust multiplies, hinges warp, the gate refuses to open for anyone. Offer the oil instead and it swings wide for years. Small choices compound like interest in a hidden bank. Every drizzle now buys easier steps later. There is a gentle ritual in tipping the bottle. The glass neck catches the light, the stream thickens, the aroma rises, green, fruity, faintly peppery. Pause and inhale. Allow the scent to linger before it mingles with bread or roasted root vegetables. These seconds of awareness calm the nervous system, telling every cell that nourishment is coming, danger is gone. Stress loosens its grip, digestion readies its fires, and absorption improves. In a world that rushes, such pauses are medicine on their own. Tomorrow morning twist the cap once more. Let a spoonful slip directly onto your tongue. Close your eyes. Feel how the liquid coats every corner before you swallow. Behind the rich taste lies a promise that joints will glide more easily, that vessels will hum instead of hiss. Remember the bicycle, remember the orchard gate, remember the stream over polished stones. Your legs carry those images now, and with each step they will whisper, "Thanks." Lift a cooked beet and feel its weight, solid yet full of quiet promise. Slice through the deep skin and a jewel-bright heart appears, rings within rings like those found in an ancient tree. This crimson spiral carries natural compounds that master the art of persuasion inside the body. They journey through the stomach, slip into the bloodstream, and softly ask every vessel wall to relax. Imagine narrow garden hoses left in the cold, stiff and unwilling to bend. Warm water flows through, loosening the fibers until each hose becomes supple again. That is the grace these beets bring to arteries that once clung tight around every pulse. Think back to childhood and the thrill of carving canals in wet sand, guiding trickles of water into wider paths. The tide would slide in, the channels would deepen, and soon a lazy stream turned into a playful river. Beetroot works with similar patience. Its pigments and natural nitrates coax blood vessels to widen just enough for a silk-smooth current. Oxygen rides that current, tucking itself into tired calf muscles, feeding pink toes, lifting the weight that once settled in the arches with every evening sigh. Some find the flavor earthy, almost whispered straight from the soil. Others taste a sweetness that lingers after roasting. Either way, the beet teaches an old truth: what grows in darkness often brings hidden light. When cubes of roasted beet meet a drizzle of balsamic vinegar, an orchestra starts playing under the tongue, strings of subtle tartness over warm bass notes. Blend it into a velvety soup with a swirl of Greek yogurt, and the spoon carries comfort deep into winter evenings. Grate it raw over crisp greens, and suddenly the plate looks like a canvas streaked by a daring artist. An elder once shared a story of trudging home through snow on aching feet. She recalled stopping by a roadside stall where jars of pickled beets gleamed like rubies in brine. She bought one, walked inside a quiet kitchen, and ate a forkful straight from the jar. Steam frosted the window as the tang hit her senses, jolting her awake. She swore that on the next morning's walk her legs felt as though someone had opened hidden shutters, letting fresh air sweep the corridors beneath her skin. Whether the change began in veins or in spirit did not matter. Relief had found her. The color of beetroot is more than decoration. Those bold shades are guardians against invisible rust. They sweep away free radicals that scratch vessel walls and spark tiny fires that spread pain. With each forkful, these guardians march into battle, cloaking delicate cells in a cloak of crimson defense. Over days pressure softens its grip, and warmth returns to hands and feet like sunrise creeping across a frosted field. Kitchen rituals give the beet its finest stage. Wrap one in foil and set it in a slow oven. As hours pass, the house fills with a scent both earthy and sweet, a reminder that patience often tastes better than haste. When you peel away the thin skin, it slips off like an old coat no longer needed. Slice the gem within, watch juice pool across the board, and be fearless about stains. Let fingertips turn pink, it is a badge of nourishment earned. Mix those slices with orange segments, toasted seeds, and mint leaves, and you have crafted a dish that sings of summer even on a gray day. If salt has swollen ankles or sugar has fogged morning clarity, beetroot arrives as an antidote. Its fiber steadies blood sugar the way a good friend steadies a wavering step. Its minerals whisper calm to nerves that once fired cramp after cramp in the quiet of night. Add a pinch of black pepper or a dash of citrus zest and the body listens more keenly, for these companions help unfasten the beet's treasures, escorting them past the gut's guarded gates. Perhaps you doubt that a humble root can ease a journey measured in decades. Remember the sand canals. Change the course of a single trickle and, by twilight, an entire beach may wear a new pattern. One small serving today widens tomorrow's channels a fraction, and tomorrow's serving opens them farther still. Weeks weave into months, and soon those once narrow passages resemble broad avenues down which blood glides without argument. The legs recognize this change before the mind does. Steps land lighter, hills shrink, and the familiar burn at the back of the shins arrives later, leaves sooner, or sometimes forgets to appear at all. So roast another batch, pickle another jar, blend another smoothie the color of late summer dahlias. Let beetroot's river magic keep sweeping through unseen waterways, carving broader paths, leaving behind the gentle hum of good circulation. The next time you lace your shoes and head for the corner shop or the park bench under birch trees, listen. Beneath the heartbeat, beneath the crunch of gravel, you may hear a softer sound, rivers running free, thanking you in a language all their own. Imagine standing by a sunlit shore where waves glide in with whispered persistence. From that same sea comes a gift wrapped in silvery skin and flesh the color of sunset clouds. Salmon is more than a meal, it is a promise carried on fins. Within each tender flake live omega fats that slip through muscle fibers like gentle currents, weaving new threads of strength where time has worn them thin. Picture your calves and thighs as a wooden ladder leaning against an orchard tree heavy with fruit. Over years the rungs can splinter, wobble, even crack under weight. With every bite of salmon, those rungs grow denser, more resilient. Muscles remember their original springiness and begin to rebound with each step rather than sag. The sea's blessing does not arrive alone. Alongside healthy fat rides a generous portion of protein that feels like a quiet mason layering brick upon brick behind the scenes. Day after day, tiny repair crews carry pieces of this salmon masonry into worn areas, patching, reinforcing, and guiding cells to knit themselves more firmly together. The result is a body that resists cramps the way a forest resists wind when its roots run deep. Where once an afternoon walk ended in tight calves and stumbling steps, now each stride feels supported by an invisible scaffolding. Consider the shimmer of a freshly grilled fillet. The skin curls back, revealing tender layers beneath, steam rising in soft spirals that carry sea salt scent into the air. Even the aroma seizes attention and slows racing thoughts. In that pause, the nervous system tucks away stress like a traveler slipping off a heavy pack at journey's end. Peace settles in, vessels relax, and nutrients can flow unhindered toward the corners of your body that have grown stiff and silent. You may not taste the salmon for its biochemical power, but your legs will recognize the difference when they respond with steadier balance and a smoother roll from heel to toe. Salmon meets the palate beautifully paired with simple flavors, a squeeze of bright lemon juice that crackles like dawn, a scattering of fresh herbs that feel like spring rain, a handful of steamed greens that echo the forest canopy. Yet it thrives just as well on its own, warm flakes resting beside fluffy grains or nestled into an omelet at dawn. If you prefer cold dishes, flake it into salads with leafy greens that rustle with life, and let every forkful remind you of rolling waves and open skies. Many fear fat, as though it clings to the body like unwanted dust. In reality, the right fat acts like a gentle cushion, supporting sensitive nerves and soothing the very cells where pain begins. It is the balm that rubs away friction between tissue layers, the oil that greases the engine's pistons so they fire without harsh clangs. Without it, even sturdy muscle balks at simple tasks. With it, the body remembers its natural cadence, the rhythm of footsteps that once sounded like music on a wooden porch. If you doubt such quiet transformations, recall the time you first learned to ride a bicycle. Balance felt precarious, decisions arrived faster than reflexes. You wobbled until you found the center of gravity, then nothing stopped you. Salmon offers a similar grace. At first you may not notice its magic. Perhaps you only sleep with fewer leg twitches or stand at the sink tapping an impatient foot aware for the first time that it no longer aches. Later you catch yourself striding through a hallway, thoughts drifting, and realize you have walked without thinking about pain. Keep a portion of salmon sealed in the freezer like a small treasure. Let its presence at hand become a quiet invitation to vitality. When the next walk beckons, remember the seabed where this fish grew strong, its flesh infused with currents of life. Recall how each bite threads new vigor through tired limbs. Then step forward. The ladder beneath you feels reinforced. The waves within you lap softly, carrying energy to toes and knees alike. In the gentle hush that follows, you will recognize a simple truth: nourishment from nature is the most steadfast companion on any path you choose. Picture an orchestra tuning before a grand performance. Each instrument brings its own voice, strings, woodwinds, percussion, yet all wait for the conductor's cue to play in harmony. Your meals are much like that orchestra, and you are both maestro and musician. Without guidance, each section may rehearse separately, creating noise rather than melody. But when notes align, the result is a moving symphony that carries vitality through every chamber of your body. Begin the day like sunlight passing through stained glass, gentle yet illuminating. Offer your body a meal that feels light but resonant, a softly scrambled egg or a bowl of porridge stirred with a spoonful of olive oil, drizzled with honey that glints like dawn. As you eat, imagine that every bite sends messengers to thirsty tissues. The fat from the oil whispers calm to joints, the protein hums reassurance to muscles, and the sweetness stirs circulation so that warmth spreads from toes to temples. Pause between mouthfuls. Let the flavors settle like notes held in the air before they mingle again. This slow cadence tells your nervous system that the day's first movement begins unhurried and sure. By midday, your body craves richness, nutrients that pad weary cells and rekindle fading spark. Arrange a meal like an artist's palette, bringing contrasting hues together, leafy greens rich as forest shadows, bright berries bursting like sunlight through branches, a handful of nuts echoing autumn's gentle crunch. Each color carries its own melody. Greens deliver minerals that strengthen bones, berries supply gentle sugars that fuel brain and limb alike, nuts provide wholesome fats that grease every joint's hinge. When you combine them on the plate, they form a cord of nourishment, one that flows smoothly when you rise from the table. As afternoon light softens, stress sometimes clutches at shoulders, begging for relief. Let a simple snack, slices of beetroot tucked into a slice of whole grain bread, serve as a lullaby. The earth-tinged sweetness soothes, the fiber satiates without heaviness, and the pigments slip like dancers through tiny vessels, coaxing them to widen. Eat slowly, allowing each fragment to burst beneath your tongue. Feel how the rhythm of breath deepens, how tension unwinds from calves and hips. You are not simply filling a gap, you are weaving a calm current that will carry you through the rest of the day. When evening arrives, think of returning home after a long journey. You need comfort, warmth, and gentle restoration. A fillet of salmon rests beside roasted roots, its rosy flakes promising renewal. As you break off each bite, imagine invisible hands tucking repair crews into fraying muscle fibers. Steam rises in soft white spirals, carrying the sea's essence into your senses: salt, mist, distant horizons. Let each forkful remind you that healing often hides in simple traditions: shared meals, fragrant kitchens, laughter around the table. Even if you dine alone, set the table as if waiting for a cherished guest. A folded napkin, the faint clink of a glass, these small touches signal to the body that safety has come, that it may open its doors to nourishment without fear. Between these main movements, hydration plays the role of a quiet double bass, underpinning every phrase. Water infused with a curl of citrus or the gentlest whisper of mint carries clarity to blood and mind. Sip it steadily, not as a gulping monologue but as a soft accompaniment that never intrudes yet always supports. When the throat feels dry, pause and breathe before you drink, letting anticipation sharpen the senses. Each sip then becomes a note of refreshment, one that resonates through every cell. Avoid the temptation to race through meals. Speed is the enemy of digestion, turning what should be a nourishing ritual into a frantic sprint. Instead, chew with care, noticing textures: silken salmon, crisp greens, tender beetroot, so that the digestive orchestra has time to tune its sections. When the stage is set and every enzyme plays its part, nutrients enter the bloodstream as if riding first class, arriving at joints, muscles, and bones without delay. By aligning what you eat with when you eat, you compose a daily masterpiece. The body responds not to isolated ingredients but to the unfolding narrative of nourishment: the quiet prep in the morning, the vibrant interlude at midday, the soothing finale at dusk. Each chapter builds on the last, creating a seamless arc that carries you from sunrise's promise to sunset's gentle release. In this way, your legs, those faithful bridges, receive exactly the support they need, delivered in perfect rhythm, tuned by your mindful choices, and conducted by the simple devotion of eating well. 7 dawns have come and gone since you first welcomed olive oil, beetroot, and salmon into your daily fare. At first, change felt like a whisper, perhaps a stray memory of easier steps or a fleeting absence of stiffness. Now those murmurs gather into a gentle chorus beneath your skin. Picture overnight frost melting into a silver dew on grass. The ground grows both softer and firmer, no longer frozen against your stride. On the morning of the 8th day, pause before lacing your shoes and roll your ankles deliberately. Feel how they greet each other without the usual protest. Step forward onto the path and notice how your calves greet the earth with a quieter hum. The burn that once flared around mid-stride now flares later, giving you extra paces before the first reminder. Imagine a clock whose hands hesitated at 20 minutes, now running 10 minutes longer before pausing again, each minute a small triumph. At midday, when fatigue used to settle like a heavy cloak, you may instead detect a lightness around the hips. Muscles carry a smoother pulse, as though someone wound the inner springs tighter. The secret lies in salmon's protein foundations bolstering fractured fibers, and in olive oil's pacification of inflamed channels sending relief like small, constant winds to every joint. By afternoon, a familiar ritual unfolds. You bend to tie a shoelace or pick up a small bag without bracing for pain. Where once you held your breath in anticipation, now you exhale freely, astonished by ease so simple you nearly overlook it. Recall the orchard gate and the bicycle chain. Those first morning rides free of screeching made you curious, then hopeful. Now the curiosity blooms into confidence. Your legs remember fluid motion as though waking from a long slumber. Evenings bring restful sleep rather than leg cramps that once startled you upright. The combination of beetroot's widening of vessels and the ritual of mindful meals calms restless nerves, permitting magnesium and other minerals to slip into muscles like gentle lullabies. Dreamtime becomes deeper, and mornings arrive with less stiffness and more readiness to greet the day. In social moments, standing in line, chatting by a curb, shuffling through a market, you stand straighter because your core carries less tension. Extra virgin olive oil's cushion and beetroot's polish whisper through those tiny vessels in your feet, reviving arches that once sagged under hidden weight. You may catch yourself glancing at your calves in wonder, remembering a time you saw them only as sources of complaint. Celebrate these subtle victories with gratitude at the table tonight. Prepare a simple platter: slices of beetroot tossed in olive oil alongside flakes of salmon, perhaps with a wedge of lemon for brightness. Eat slowly, listening for that grateful hum in joints. Each bite today lays groundwork for tomorrow's strides. And tomorrow, when you step outside again, notice how the bridge of your legs carries you farther before creaking a greeting, how the river beneath them slides more smoothly with every heartbeat. The landscape remains unchanged, yet your journey feels renewed, and this renewal was born not in a pill but in the simple act of eating well. Stand now at the threshold of your day, feeling the quiet stir within your limbs. Each step you take echoes the promise you made to your body when you poured olive oil, sliced beetroot, and savored salmon. Pain no longer stands as a guard at the gate, it is stepped aside, allowing gentle strength to slip through. Imagine a lamp hidden behind a velvet curtain. Darkness has thick hides, but a single hand can draw the fabric away, and light floods the room. Your body is that lamp, and nourishment was the hand. As you rise from your chair, notice how your joints align with ease. There is still the memory of years etched into bone and muscle, but it sits quietly now, overshadowed by newfound resilience. A breeze drifts in through the window, stirring curtains and reminding you that movement is natural, like wind bending grass. Feel the light brush of air against your skin, the subtle stretch as you reach for a glass of water. Hydration, like a conductor's baton, keeps every note in tune. Walk across the room as if crossing a sunlit meadow. Hear how your feet cushion against the floor, how ankles pivot with confidence, how calves pulse with gentle rhythm. The body's orchestra has found its harmony, each section having learned to listen. Where inflammation once raged like a storm, now flows a calm current that carries oxygen, minerals, hope. The tiniest vessels pulse in soft unison, as though thanking you for widening their path. Recall the first episode, those squeaking bridges and pleading harbors. Now the bridges hum beneath you, and the water runs clear. Remember the orchard gate and the bicycle chain, each story echoing simple care's profound effect. Today you live that story. Every meal you prepared, every mindful pause before a bite, built toward this moment. Your legs carry you not only across distance but toward a deeper trust, that the body speaks in signals of discomfort so you may respond with kindness. When evening falls, pause again before closing your eyes. Feel the steady rise and fall of breath, the gentle prickle at the back of your calves no longer demanding attention but simply resting in presence. Let gratitude ripple through you like soft light across a still pond. Gratitude to time, for teaching you patience. To simple foods, for offering their gifts without fanfare. To yourself, for answering every ache with a choice to nourish rather than ignore. Your journey does not end here. Pain may return if you stray from these practices, like clouds returning to a bright sky. Yet now you know how to welcome light once more. Keep the lamp lit with olive oil's glow, beetroot's river magic, salmon's sturdy support, and with every bite you choose, whisper, I remember to listen. Then step forward again. The road stretches ahead, unchanged in shape but alive beneath new strength. Walk on, knowing that the quiet lamp inside you shines steadily, guiding every step with gentle brilliance.